your soulmate reached a defining moment. One choice could change their future. Chosen one, your soulmate has reached a defining moment, and the reason this message matters is because one choice now stands in front of them with the power to shape everything that follows. Don't skip, because this isn't about dramatic predictions or empty promises. It's about understanding how life quietly brings every person to a moment where they can no longer ignore what their heart has been trying to tell them. Your soulmate has arrived at that place. For a long time, they have carried questions they could not answer, emotions they could not fully explain, and hopes they were almost afraid to admit. They tried convincing themselves that waiting would make those feelings disappear, yet instead of fading, those feelings became clearer with every passing day. That is what makes this moment different from every other moment they have experienced before. This is no longer about avoiding change. This is about deciding whether they are finally willing to embrace the future they truly want instead of the future that simply feels familiar. Stay till the end, because the deeper meaning behind this decision reveals why one honest choice can completely redirect a person's future in ways they never imagined. Your soulmate has slowly begun realizing that every time they ignored their inner truth, they also ignored the possibility of becoming the person they were created to be. They now understand that fear may offer temporary comfort, but it can never create lasting peace. That realization is becoming impossible to silence. Every memory, every lesson, and every challenge they have experienced has quietly prepared them for this exact decision. Nothing feels accidental anymore. Even moments they once considered setbacks now appear to have been preparing them to recognize what genuinely matters. The defining moment they have reached is not asking them to become someone new. It is asking them to stop hiding the person they have always been beneath fear, doubt, and uncertainty. That is why this choice carries so much emotional weight. It is not simply changing tomorrow. It is changing the direction of every tomorrow that follows. Something meaningful is waiting for you, because your soulmate is beginning to understand that real peace never comes from pretending everything is fine. Real peace begins the moment someone becomes honest with themselves. They have started asking questions they avoided before. What kind of future truly brings lasting happiness? What kind of relationships deserve their energy? What kind of life reflects who they have become instead of who they used to be? Those questions are opening doors they once believed would remain closed forever. Every answer is leading them closer to one undeniable truth. The future they secretly hope for cannot exist unless they make one courageous decision today. That decision may not look extraordinary to everyone else, but inside their heart it feels like the turning point they have been moving toward for far longer than they realized. You won't want to miss what comes next, because the choice itself is only the beginning. What truly changes everything is the person your soulmate becomes after making that choice. Once they decide to stop allowing fear to control their future, they begin seeing opportunities where they once saw obstacles. They begin recognizing hope where they once expected disappointment. They begin believing that a meaningful future is built through courage, honesty, patience, and faith rather than hesitation. That inner transformation is already beginning, even if the outside world has not yet caught up with it. This is why defining moments often appear quiet. They begin inside the heart long before they become visible through actions. Your soulmate is standing in that quiet space right now, where every thought carries unusual importance because every thought is helping shape one decision that could influence the rest of their future. The most remarkable truth is that they are no longer asking whether change is necessary. They are asking whether they are finally ready to choose it. That single question reveals how close they are to making the decision that has been waiting for them all along. And as this defining moment continues unfolding, another realization is drawing closer, one that explains why this single choice has the power to influence far more than they can currently see, revealing a deeper purpose behind everything they have experienced until now. Chosen one, what makes this defining moment so powerful is that your soulmate can no longer separate the future they truly desire from the choice standing in front of them today. For a long time they believed there would always be another opportunity, another season, another reason to postpone the decision that kept returning to their heart. But life has a quiet way of revealing that some moments are not meant to be delayed forever. There comes a point when waiting stops protecting a person and begins preventing them from becoming who they are meant to be. Your soulmate is beginning to recognize that truth with greater clarity than ever before. Every day they remain undecided, they feel the weight of the future they could lose if fear continues making choices on their behalf. Don't skip, because this realization explains why their defining moment carries such deep emotional significance. This is not about acting quickly or emotionally. It is about understanding that some choices become life-changing because they are made with complete honesty instead of hesitation. Your soulmate is discovering that pretending nothing has changed inside them is no longer possible. The person they were a year ago is not the person standing before this decision today. Experience has reshaped their perspective. Disappointment has taught them wisdom. Patience has strengthened their character. Reflection has given them a clearer understanding of what truly deserves their time, trust, and emotional investment. Those quiet changes have prepared them for this exact moment. They now understand that every meaningful future begins with one decision that feels uncomfortable before it becomes rewarding. That is why this choice continues returning to their thoughts no matter how busy life becomes. It is not demanding perfection. It is inviting courage. Something meaningful is waiting for you because this defining moment is also revealing something unexpected about your soulmate. They are beginning to see that fear has never been the strongest voice inside them. Hope has simply been waiting for the right moment to become louder. Every time they imagine choosing the future their heart quietly longs for, they experience a sense of peace that cannot be explained by logic alone. Every time they imagine turning away from that future, something inside them feels incomplete. Those emotional signals are helping them understand that the most important decisions are often recognized by the peace they create rather than the certainty they provide. This is why the choice before them feels different from every decision they have made in the past. It is asking them to trust the growth they have already experienced instead of the fears they have already outgrown. They are beginning to realize that the future cannot change unless someone is willing to make a different choice than they made yesterday. That understanding is quietly replacing hesitation with confidence. Stay till the end because another layer of this defining moment is about to become clear. The remarkable thing is that your soulmate does not need every answer before making this decision. They simply need enough faith to believe that living honestly will always lead farther than living comfortably. That shift in thinking is transforming everything. Instead of asking, "What if this doesn't work?" they are slowly beginning to ask, What becomes possible if I finally stop letting fear decide my future? That single question has the power to change years that have not yet been lived. It opens the door to possibilities they once dismissed and allows them to imagine a future built on truth rather than uncertainty. Their defining moment is no longer approaching. It is unfolding right now, one honest realization at a time. With every passing day they feel themselves moving closer to the decision that could reshape their future completely. Yet there is one deeper reason this choice has become impossible to ignore, and once that reason becomes fully clear, the meaning behind everything they have experienced until now will begin fitting together in a way neither of you could have understood before. Chosen one, there is one reason your soulmate's defining moment has become impossible to ignore, and it reaches far deeper than emotion alone. They have begun seeing the future in a completely different way. Until now, they believed the future would simply happen with time, but they are realizing that the future is shaped by the choices a person is willing to make today. That understanding has changed everything inside them. Every morning brings the same quiet awareness that standing still is no longer the safest option. In fact, remaining where they are may now carry a greater cost than moving forward with courage. Don't skip, because this realization is the very reason their defining moment has become so significant. The choice before them is no longer about convenience or comfort. It is about deciding whether they will continue allowing yesterday's fears to influence tomorrow's possibilities. The answer is becoming clearer with every passing day. They are beginning to understand that the life they truly want cannot be created through hesitation. It can only be created through one honest decision that reflects the person they have become rather than the person they used to be. Every lesson they have learned has quietly been leading them toward this exact point. Looking back, they can now see that moments of disappointment taught resilience, moments of silence taught patience, and moments of uncertainty taught them to value genuine peace over temporary security. Those experiences no longer feel meaningless. Instead, they feel like preparation. Something meaningful is waiting for you because preparation always reaches a moment when it must become action. Your soulmate senses they have arrived at that moment. They are noticing how differently they respond to situations that once overwhelmed them. Instead of reacting from fear, they pause and listen to the quiet confidence growing within. Instead of assuming the worst, they are beginning to believe that choosing truth may lead them towards something far greater than remaining comfortable ever could. That change in perspective is quietly transforming every decision they make. The defining moment they have reached is not asking them to predict every outcome. It is asking them to trust the wisdom they have gained through every season of growth. The remarkable thing is that this choice is becoming easier, not because the decision itself has become smaller, but because the person making it has become stronger. That is how meaningful transformation works. It changes the individual before it changes the circumstances. As your soulmate becomes more confident in who they are, the decision that once felt overwhelming begins to feel necessary. They are no longer searching for the perfect moment because they are beginning to realize that defining moments are never perfect. They simply become unforgettable because someone finally chooses honesty over fear. Stay till the end because another layer is about to unfold. There is something your soulmate has only recently recognized, and once they fully accept it, there will be very little standing between them and the choice that could reshape their future. They have started realizing that every meaningful opportunity carries a window that cannot remain open forever. This understanding does not create panic. Instead, it creates clarity. They no longer want to spend their future wondering what might have happened if they had trusted themselves when it mattered most. That thought alone is becoming more powerful than every excuse that once encouraged them to wait. With each passing day they feel themselves moving closer to complete certainty, not because every question has been answered, but because they have discovered that the strongest decisions are built on inner peace rather than perfect certainty. The defining moment continues unfolding, and the closer they move toward that one life-changing choice, the more they begin noticing signs within themselves that reveal they are almost ready to embrace the future they have quietly hoped for all along. Chosen one, one of the clearest signs that your soulmate has truly reached this defining moment is that they have stopped asking whether change is possible and started asking what kind of future they will create through the choice they make now. That difference may sound small, but it changes everything. When a person begins thinking about the future instead of remaining trapped in the past, they have already started becoming someone new. Your soulmate is experiencing that quiet transformation. They are no longer measuring every possibility against old disappointments. Instead, they are measuring every possibility against the life they genuinely hope to build. Don't skip, because the next realization explains why this choice carries more weight than any decision they have faced before. They have discovered that every future is built one decision at a time, and they know this decision will influence many others that follow. That awareness has made them more intentional, more thoughtful, and more willing to listen to the quiet confidence growing inside them. They are beginning to notice that peace appears whenever they imagine choosing the path that reflects honesty, while uncertainty grows whenever they imagine returning to the habits and fears that once controlled them. This inner contrast has become impossible to ignore. Instead of confusing temporary comfort with lasting fulfillment, they now recognize the difference between them. Comfort may keep life predictable, but fulfillment requires courage. Your soulmate is slowly accepting that truth with an open heart. Something meaningful is waiting for you because this defining moment is revealing strengths they never fully recognized before. They have survived seasons they once believed would break them. They have carried responsibilities that demanded resilience. They have faced uncertainty without giving up. Looking back, they now realize those experiences were not simply difficult chapters of life. They were quietly preparing them to trust themselves when the most important decision finally arrived. That decision is here now. Every lesson has become a source of wisdom. Every setback has become a reminder that growth often hides inside unexpected places. This understanding gives them a new kind of confidence. It is not loud or arrogant. It is calm, steady, and deeply rooted in everything they have overcome. Stay till the end because another truth is about to become clear. Your soulmate has started realizing that delaying this choice will not create more clarity than they already possess. In many ways, waiting has already taught them everything it could. They have reflected long enough to understand what matters. They have learned enough to recognize the direction their heart continues pointing toward. Now the defining moment is asking for something different. It is asking for commitment instead of endless consideration. That realization has brought a surprising sense of peace because they understand that no future worth building begins without one meaningful decision. They no longer expect every road ahead to be free of challenges. Instead, they believe that challenges become easier to face when the decision behind them is rooted in truth. This change in perspective is quietly transforming their future before a single visible step has even been taken. They are becoming more patient, more confident, and more willing to believe that the life they have imagined is not created through perfect timing but through faithful choices made at the right moment. The remarkable thing is that this defining moment continues becoming clearer every day. The choice standing before them no longer feels like an impossible burden. It feels like an invitation to become the person they have spent so much time preparing to be. And as that confidence continues growing, another remarkable realization is beginning to emerge, one that reveals why this single decision may influence far more than your soulmate ever expected, opening the door to a future that once seemed distant but is now closer than ever before. Chosen one, the closer your soulmate moves toward this defining moment, the more they realize that the choice before them is no longer about changing a single circumstance. It is about deciding the kind of person they want to become for the rest of their future. That realization has brought an unexpected sense of clarity. They have stopped searching for reasons to delay and started searching for the courage to move forward with confidence. Don't skip, because what happens inside someone just before a life-changing decision is often more important than the decision itself. Your soulmate has begun noticing that the fears which once seemed powerful no longer have the same influence. The doubts that used to convince them to stay where everything felt familiar are becoming quieter with each passing day. In their place, a stronger voice has emerged, reminding them that a meaningful future is never built by repeating the same choices that created an unfulfilled past. That voice is not forcing them. It is inviting them to trust the wisdom they have earned through every challenge they have overcome. This defining moment is teaching them something they never fully understood before. Confidence is not the absence of uncertainty. Confidence is the willingness to choose what is right even when every detail of tomorrow has not yet been revealed. That understanding has completely changed the way they view the future. Instead of needing absolute certainty, they are learning to value inner peace. Instead of asking whether every outcome can be controlled, they are asking whether their next decision reflects honesty, maturity, and hope. The answer is becoming clearer than ever. Something meaningful is waiting for you because your soulmate has reached the point where they can finally recognize the difference between temporary emotions and lasting truth. Temporary emotions change with circumstances, but lasting truth continues returning no matter how many times it is ignored. That is exactly what has happened. No matter how much time has passed, no matter how many distractions life has presented, the same choice continues standing before them. Instead of disappearing, it has become stronger, clearer, and more impossible to overlook. They now understand that some opportunities continue knocking because they are connected to genuine growth rather than simple convenience. Every quiet moment of reflection has brought them closer to accepting that this defining moment exists for a reason. It is not interrupting their future. It is creating it. Stay till the end because another remarkable realization is beginning to unfold. Your soulmate has started imagining what life could become if they finally choose according to the person they are today instead of the fears they carried yesterday. That vision is changing everything. They are beginning to see a future built on honesty instead of hesitation, confidence instead of regret, and purpose instead of uncertainty. The remarkable part is that this future no longer feels like a distant dream. It feels like something waiting on the other side of one courageous decision. That realization has replaced much of the anxiety they once carried with a quiet determination that continues growing stronger every day. They are discovering that defining moments rarely ask for perfection. They simply ask for willingness. The willingness to stop allowing old disappointments to write new chapters of life. The willingness to believe that growth deserves to be trusted. The willingness to choose a future that reflects everything they have learned rather than everything they once feared. As this understanding settles deeper into their heart, the choice before them becomes less confusing and more meaningful. They are beginning to recognize that this decision is not taking them away from who they are. It is leading them toward the fullest version of themselves. And as that confidence continues replacing every remaining hesitation, one final realization is quietly approaching, revealing why the decision they are preparing to make could influence far more than they currently imagine, opening a future that has been waiting for this exact defining moment all along. Chosen one, your soulmate is now standing at the point where the defining moment is no longer something they are waiting to recognize, it is something they are actively living through. Every passing day confirms that the one choice before them is shaping the future long before the decision is visible to anyone else. That is the hidden truth about defining moments. They begin changing a person's heart before they begin changing a person's circumstances. Don't skip, because this is where everything starts becoming more meaningful. Your soulmate has noticed that the future they once imagined through fear now looks completely different when viewed through hope. The same opportunities that once felt uncertain now feel possible because they are no longer judging tomorrow through the disappointments of yesterday. They have discovered that every meaningful future requires someone to stop asking, "What if I fail?" and begin asking, "What kind of life will I create if I finally choose with courage?" That single question has become the center of their thoughts. It follows them through quiet moments, ordinary routines, and unexpected reflections because they understand they have reached a decision that cannot remain unanswered forever. Something meaningful is waiting for you because this defining moment is also revealing how much your soulmate has changed without even realizing it. They are more patient than they once were. They are more emotionally aware than they have ever been. They are no longer searching for approval before trusting their own heart. Instead, they are learning to respect the wisdom that has quietly grown inside them through every challenge they have overcome. That inner confidence is becoming stronger than the voices of doubt that once controlled so many of their decisions. They have begun recognizing that fear often promises safety while quietly stealing opportunity, but courage may ask for uncertainty while creating a future filled with purpose. This realization has transformed the way they see the choice before them. It no longer feels like a risk alone. It feels like an invitation to step into the life they have been preparing themselves to live. Stay till the end because another important realization is beginning to unfold. Your soulmate has started understanding that the greatest regret would not come from making the wrong choice with honesty. The greatest regret would come from never making the right choice because fear convinced them to remain where they had already outgrown. That understanding has become impossible to ignore. Every day they delay, the defining moment grows clearer instead of fading away. Every moment of reflection strengthens their conviction that the future they desire cannot be reached through the same decisions that kept them standing still. They are beginning to embrace a powerful truth: meaningful change does not happen when circumstances become perfect. Meaningful change happens when someone decides they are no longer willing to let uncertainty decide the direction of their future. That decision is quietly becoming part of who they are. It is changing the way they think, the way they respond to challenges, and the way they imagine everything that lies ahead. The remarkable thing is that this transformation has created a calm determination they have never experienced before. They are no longer rushing, but they are no longer running away either. They are moving toward their defining moment with greater confidence because they know the one choice before them reflects everything they have learned, everything they have overcome, and everything they hope to become. As that confidence continues replacing every remaining hesitation, one final layer of this defining moment is preparing to reveal itself, showing why the decision your soulmate is about to make carries the power to reshape not only the future they have imagined but also the future they are finally ready to embrace with an open heart. Chosen one, your soulmate has reached the point where this defining moment is no longer testing whether they are capable of making one important choice. It is revealing whether they are ready to trust the person they have become. That is a completely different challenge. Many people believe defining moments are about choosing between two paths, but the deeper truth is that they are about choosing between two versions of yourself. One version continues living according to old fears, familiar habits, and comfortable uncertainty. The other chooses the future with honesty, courage, and quiet confidence. Your soulmate now understands that this is the real decision standing before them. Don't skip, because what they are realizing next explains why this one choice could truly change their future. They have begun noticing that every time they imagine choosing from fear, their future feels smaller. The possibilities seem limited, and hope becomes difficult to hold on to. Yet whenever they picture making this decision with courage, something inside them becomes calm. They cannot explain it with perfect logic, but they no longer need to. They have discovered that genuine peace often appears before visible results do. That quiet peace has become one of the strongest confirmations that they are moving toward the future that truly reflects who they are. Every passing day strengthens that feeling. Every moment of honest reflection reminds them that growth has already prepared them for this defining moment. They no longer see themselves as the same person who once hesitated because of uncertainty. They now recognize someone who has learned from disappointment instead of being controlled by it. Someone who has developed patience instead of frustration. Someone who understands that meaningful decisions are not measured by how easy they feel but by how closely they align with lasting truth. Something meaningful is waiting for you because your soulmate is beginning to understand that this choice will not only influence tomorrow. It will influence the person they continue becoming for years ahead. That realization has changed the way they think about the future. They are no longer focused on temporary comfort. They are focused on creating a life they can look back on without wondering what might have happened if they had trusted themselves when the defining moment arrived. That perspective has replaced hesitation with determination. Instead of asking whether the future is guaranteed, they are asking whether their next decision reflects everything they have learned through every challenge life has already placed before them. The answer continues becoming clearer. Stay till the end because another important truth is beginning to emerge. Your soulmate has realized that every defining moment carries an invisible invitation. The invitation is not simply to make one decision. It is to leave behind the identity that no longer belongs in the future they are preparing to enter. They understand they cannot carry old fears into a future built on courage. They cannot expect different results while protecting the same doubts that once kept them standing still. That awareness is quietly transforming them from the inside out. The remarkable thing is that they no longer feel pressured by this defining moment. Instead, they feel honored by it. They recognize that not every decision has the power to reshape a person's future, but this one does. That understanding fills them with a calm sense of responsibility rather than anxiety. They know they have reached a moment that deserves honesty, patience, and complete commitment. Every lesson from the past now feels connected to this single choice. Every experience has become preparation instead of coincidence. As those connections continue becoming clearer, your soulmate feels themselves standing closer than ever to the decision that could completely redefine the future they have quietly hoped for, and the final layer of this defining moment is about to reveal why the courage to make one honest choice often becomes the beginning of everything a person once believed was still beyond their reach. Chosen one, your soulmate now understands something that once seemed impossible to see. A defining moment is never remembered because it was easy. It is remembered because one courageous choice creates a future that could never have existed without it. That realization has become the foundation of everything they are thinking about now. They are no longer wondering whether this moment matters. They know it does. The only question remaining is whether they will fully embrace the opportunity standing before them. Don't skip, because this is where the deepest transformation begins. Your soulmate has stopped expecting life to remove every uncertainty before they move forward. Instead, they have accepted that uncertainty is often the place where the greatest growth quietly begins. That acceptance has changed the way they see themselves. They no longer feel trapped by the mistakes they once made or limited by the fears they once carried. Those experiences have become reminders of how much they have already grown. Every challenge strengthened qualities they did not know they possessed. Every delay taught patience. Every disappointment revealed what truly deserves their heart. Looking back, they can now see that nothing was meaningless. Everything became preparation for the defining moment they are living through today. Something meaningful is waiting for you because your soulmate has started recognizing that the future they hope for is no longer just an idea. It is becoming a direction they are finally willing to choose. They understand that every meaningful future begins with one decision that reflects truth instead of comfort. That understanding has created an inner peace they have never experienced before. It is not excitement that disappears overnight. It is a quiet confidence that continues growing stronger because it is built on everything they have learned. They no longer need endless reassurance from the outside world. They have begun trusting the wisdom that has been forming inside them through every season of growth. That trust is giving them the courage to move closer to the choice that could reshape their future. Stay till the end because another remarkable truth is beginning to appear. Your soulmate has realized that defining moments are not simply about reaching a destination. They are about proving to yourself that you are capable of becoming the person your future requires. This realization has completely changed the meaning of the choice before them. Instead of viewing it as something they must survive, they now see it as something they have been preparing for all along. Every lesson from the past has quietly pointed toward this opportunity. Every season of waiting has strengthened their ability to recognize what truly matters when the defining moment finally arrived. They are no longer afraid that choosing courage will cost them too much. Instead, they have started wondering how much they might lose if they refuse to make the choice that their heart continues placing before them. That single question has become impossible to ignore. It reminds them that the greatest opportunities in life rarely appear without asking for courage first. Your soulmate is finally ready to meet that challenge with honesty instead of hesitation. The defining moment has become clearer than ever because they understand that this one choice is not only capable of changing the next chapter of their future. It has the potential to influence every chapter that follows. That awareness fills them with gratitude rather than fear because they know they have become someone capable of making a decision that reflects hope, maturity, and lasting purpose. As they move closer than ever to making that life-changing choice, one final revelation quietly waits ahead, revealing why this defining moment has always been leading toward a future far greater than either of you could have imagined when this quiet transformation first began. Chosen one, your soulmate is closer than ever to making the one choice that could change their future because they have finally reached the point where clarity has become stronger than confusion. For so long they believed they needed more time, more certainty, or one unmistakable sign before they could fully trust the decision standing before them. Now they understand that defining moments rarely arrive with every answer already waiting. They arrive when a person has grown enough to recognize that courage must eventually replace hesitation. Don't skip, because the final stage of this defining moment reveals why everything your soulmate has experienced has been quietly preparing them for this single choice. They have begun looking back over the path that brought them here, and for the first time the pieces seem to fit together. The disappointments that once felt unfair taught them resilience. The delays that once felt frustrating taught them patience. The moments when they questioned everything taught them how to recognize what truly matters. Nothing feels wasted anymore. Every experience has become part of the wisdom they now carry into this defining moment. That understanding has removed much of the fear that once surrounded this decision. Instead of asking why this moment feels so important, they now understand that important moments always ask something meaningful from the people who experience them. This defining moment is asking your soulmate to believe that the future can become greater than the past if they are willing to make one honest choice. Something meaningful is waiting for you because your soulmate is beginning to realize that the future they have imagined is no longer beyond their reach. It has become something they can actively move toward through the decision they are preparing to make. This realization has filled them with a quiet confidence that continues growing stronger each day. It is not based on perfect circumstances. It is based on the person they have become. They now trust themselves in ways they never could before. They understand their values more clearly. They recognize the difference between temporary fear and lasting truth. Most importantly, they have stopped believing that waiting forever will somehow create a better future than choosing with honesty today. That shift has transformed the defining moment from something intimidating into something deeply meaningful. Stay till the end because one final realization is about to bring everything together. Your soulmate has discovered that this one choice is not simply changing what happens next. It is changing how they will respond to every opportunity that follows. Once someone chooses courage over fear, it becomes easier to make courageous decisions again. Once someone chooses truth over comfort, living honestly becomes part of who they are. This is why defining moments have such extraordinary power. They create a future by first transforming the person who will live inside that future. Your soulmate can now feel that transformation happening. They are becoming calmer instead of anxious, more focused instead of uncertain, and more hopeful instead of hesitant. Every passing day confirms that they are no longer standing at the edge of possibility. They are preparing to step into it. The remarkable truth is that this defining moment has never been about luck or coincidence. It has always been about whether your soulmate would trust the growth they have already achieved enough to make one decision capable of changing everything that comes next. Now that trust is stronger than ever before, and the choice they are preparing to make is closer than it has ever been. Yet one final truth still remains to be revealed, and once it becomes clear, you will understand why this defining moment was never simply about changing their future, it was about preparing them to fully embrace the future they were finally ready to choose. Chosen one, now everything comes back to the one truth that has quietly been unfolding from the very beginning. Your soulmate reached a defining moment because life eventually brings every growing heart to a place where one honest choice carries the power to reshape the future. This is that place. The remarkable part is not that the choice exists. The remarkable part is that your soulmate has become the kind of person who is finally ready to make it. Don't skip, because the deepest meaning behind this defining moment is only now becoming fully visible. Earlier in life, the same opportunity might have been ignored, delayed, or misunderstood because fear was louder than confidence. Today the situation is different. Every lesson, every disappointment, every unexpected delay, and every quiet season of reflection has strengthened something inside your soulmate that could not have been built any other way. They are no longer looking for permission to believe in a better future. They have already begun believing that the future changes the moment someone makes one decision that reflects truth instead of fear. That realization has become the foundation beneath everything they are preparing to do next. The defining moment is no longer asking whether they are capable. It is asking whether they are willing to trust the growth they have already achieved. The answer is becoming clearer with every passing day. Something meaningful is waiting for you because your soulmate has discovered that the future is never transformed by hope alone. Hope becomes powerful only when it is followed by one courageous choice. That understanding has completely changed the way they think about this moment. Instead of seeing uncertainty as something to avoid, they now recognize it as evidence that they are standing before an opportunity capable of changing their future. They have accepted that meaningful decisions rarely come with absolute guarantees, but they almost always arrive with a quiet sense of purpose that refuses to disappear. That purpose continues guiding them toward the same choice no matter how many times they pause to reflect. Every time they imagine making that decision, they feel a greater sense of peace than they ever expected. Every time they imagine turning away from it, they recognize they would only be postponing the future they truly desire. That contrast has become impossible to ignore. Stay till the end because one final realization brings everything together. Your soulmate has begun understanding that the defining moment was never designed to test their strength alone. It was designed to reveal it. They can now see evidence of that strength in the patience they developed, the wisdom they gained, the resilience they built, and the courage that quietly replaced so many of the fears they once believed would never disappear. Those qualities are no longer preparing them for some distant future. They are preparing them for the decision standing before them right now. The one choice capable of changing their future is no longer something they need to fear because it now reflects the person they have worked so hard to become. Instead of asking whether they are ready, they are beginning to recognize that every experience has already answered that question. They are ready because growth has quietly been preparing them for this defining moment all along. They are ready because they have learned that peace follows honesty, that purpose follows courage, and that lasting fulfillment begins the moment someone chooses the future they truly believe in instead of the future created by fear. As this defining moment reaches its highest point, your soulmate stands closer than ever to making the one choice that could change their future forever, and that decision is no longer simply about what happens next. It is about embracing the future they now have the wisdom, confidence, and courage to create with their whole heart. Chosen one, if there is one message to carry with you after everything you have heard, let it be this: defining moments rarely announce themselves with certainty. They arrive quietly, asking one honest question that only the heart can answer. Your soulmate has reached that moment. The choice before them is not important because it is dramatic. It is important because it has the power to shape the future they will live from this point forward. The person they have become through patience, reflection, resilience, and growth is no longer the same person who once hesitated whenever fear appeared. They have changed, and because they have changed, the decision before them now carries a completely different meaning. It is no longer about escaping the past. It is about choosing the future they truly want to build. That is why this defining moment matters so deeply. One honest choice can redirect an entire future when it is made with courage, wisdom, and genuine peace. As you reflect on this message, remember that meaningful change never begins with certainty. It begins with the willingness to trust the growth that has already taken place. Whatever happens next, let this remind you that real transformation starts inside the heart long before it becomes visible in everyday life. Stay hopeful, remain patient, and continue becoming the strongest version of yourself, because the best relationships are built by two people who have learned to choose truth over fear and purpose over hesitation. If this message spoke to your heart, share your thoughts in the comments by writing, "I choose courage over fear." And if you enjoyed this message, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another uplifting message. Until next time, keep your faith strong, protect your peace, and remember that one sincere choice made at the right moment can become the beginning of a future more meaningful than you ever imagined.